In this video I want to give you very specific and quick tips that will help you stop losing money assuming that's the situation you are in, or will make your trading a little bit better assuming you already have a certain degree of consistency going on. These are tips that can be applied to traders in all levels since the beginners until the very advanced. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. Choose only one market to trade and only one time frame. That might seem too restrictive, but many traders end up lost because they look at too many things simultaneously. The other problem is that by looking at too many things, you will produce a low-resolution analysis in many markets instead of producing a high-resolution analysis in one of them. Keep in mind that to trade effectively, you must achieve a high-resolution analysis. Number 2. Gauge the amount of price information you have on your chart before you begin your analysis. As a rule of thumb, you should not have more than 150 candles visible on your chart. If you have more than that, you are probably looking at past history that is not relevant anymore to the timeframe you are trading. Price has a relatively short memory, so looking too far back is a counterproductive endeavor. Number 3. Start your analysis by counting highs and lows on your chart. Once again, this is extremely simplistic, but it has powerful effects on the rest of your analysis. When you get a good perspective on the highs and lows of your chart, you will automatically put things in the correct perspective, and you will get a feel for what the buyers and sellers are thinking in the best sense possible. Number 4. Do not clutter your chart with too many technical indicators. I'm a fan of raw price action reading most of the time, but that does not mean there is no value to be found in technical indicators. There are good things you can do with them, but you certainly don't need 15 different indicators to harvest these benefits in the optimal way. One momentum indicator is usually all you need depending on your strategy, of course. Number 5. Don't worry too much about trading sessions. The only thing that really changes between trading sessions is the volatility of the markets. All the rest remains intact. The market manipulations happen in the same way, and the underlying market mechanics and market logic also happen in the same way. The essential point here is that you can trade in any session you want in the exact same way. Number 6. Take notes of both winning and losing trades. When you are learning about the market, one of the things that really helps is to keep some sort of trading journal where you feed information like the reasons you entered a trade and a screenshot of the chart before and after you took the trade. There are deep motives for why this sort of thing works, and they have to do with how our minds shift between different states. When we are the ones assuming risk, we tend to be more susceptible to biases, but when we look at we did ourselves in the past without risk, we tend to analyze it differently. You can absolutely take advantage of that fact to learn in a quicker way about how your mind works while trading. Number 7. Understand that no matter how educated you are and how well you know the market, you will make losing trades quite frequently. This is part of the trading game, so to speak, and this is one of those things that catch the more egocentric traders off guard. It's virtually impossible to only make winning trades. This has nothing to do with the quality of your strategy. This is an inherent feature of the market. This happens because price charts are a limited source of information, and sometimes no matter how we analyze it, we will make mistakes. Thankfully, we have some mathematical and statistical tools to get around that problem with relative ease. Number 8. You should only keep things simple after you complicate them. This desire to keep things simple is a bias that we all have. However, before you can do that, you must understand how things work in great detail, otherwise you will have to do things on faith, which is not a good idea in the market because that can cause feelings of uncertainty and hesitation. This is a difficult thing because we have to be pragmatic to trade. The ideal is that you study things very deeply to the point where you internalize the knowledge, and you don't have to think about it too much anymore in order to detect it. You can only keep things simple if you do that enough and with knowledge that actually has substance. Think about a sophisticated word, for example. You cannot use this word at will just to keep things simple. You must first understand what it means, then you can use it to make your life easier. Number 9. When you produce a small loss because of a stop that was meant to protect your equity, you should be satisfied instead of upset. As I said, losing is an inevitable part of this game, so if you want to become a master of winning, you must first become a master of losing. A master of losing is someone that handles losses in the appropriate manner, which can be defined as a cold and mature approach. Number 10. Don't assume risks you cannot afford to take mathematically and emotionally. The level of risk you can tolerate is entirely subjective. There is no black and white answer here. However, you should know that the higher the amount of risk you take, the more you will amplify your biological structures that are associated with impulsive and ape-like behavior. Our minds work in a peculiar way when we deal with risk. If you take too much risk, you will make your mind more susceptible to biological forces that are completely outside of your control, and these biological forces evolved to make you survive in the wild, not to be a successful trader in front of a computer. In other words, these biological forces I'm referring to have no idea how trading works, and they could not care less. They are a survival mechanism, but not a market survival mechanism. We all have a sleeping ape inside our brains, metaphorically speaking, of course. Think of the amount of risk you take as the amount of noise that can wake up this irrational and impulsive creature. Once it wakes up, you will be subjected to what it wants until it falls asleep again. The problem is that the irrational ape inside all of us is not exactly a good trader. This is sort of like what happens when people fight. Until you calm down, you are subjected to forces that are not within your voluntary control, despite the fact that you think you have things under control. The bottom line is that you should pick a risk level that is relatively uncomfortable, not a level that is overwhelming or dangerous. Number 11. This is a cliché at this point, but learn the proper laws of technical analysis, risk management and trading psychology, otherwise you will fall for the same traps over and over again, and even worse, you won't even notice that you are falling for the same traps repeatedly. These three subjects are deeply connected, and there is a lot to learn about each one of them. Number 12. Seek professional education. The good thing about professional education is that in order for a person to come up with a serious educational material, this person must have had a long and often hard experience with the market, and there is a lot to be learned from someone like that. An educational material that is good and has substance is the condensation of years and years of insight, experience, and knowledge. All of this knowledge can be soaked in a few hours of video. Think of how much time and effort that can save you. I have created a video course that I believe touches important matters of trading that no one else seems to be talking about. I also have many years of practical experience in trading, and I can back up everything I say. If you have interest in a serious trading education, I encourage you to check out my course or to send me an email, so we can talk about the market. I hope these tips help you at least a little bit as a start. Thank you for watching.